You know the classic, Zach?
I don't want to read.
When I'm on Twitter, what am I doing, Zach?
Reading.
I'm reading. No, reading is looking at letters and your brain transcribing that into things that make sense. I don't hate dub. That's not the point of my argument right now. What happens when you have something that's already good and you compare it to something that's God tier?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Uneducation Station podcast. Podcast. Of course, my name is Zach, and I'm here with my buddy Arthur.
I am Arthur.
And today we have a pretty special episode.
We do have a special episode, and we get to talk about anime once again. You love to see it. You love to see. Everybody loves to see it. We're an anime podcast, Zach. Not only are we a news show, but we're an anime podcast.
We're an anime news show.
We're a news anime show, anime news, and we're gonna talk real quick before we start. I don't like mentioning these things, but the set has changed a little bit, ever so slightly. Can the podcast see that? No, but just know that I'm trying to think if I had explained this yet, but I'm not sure if I did because it had been a long time since the last episode. I had some PC issues, Zach. Just a couple.
Yeah.
I had one single PC issue, Zach. And that turned into me not having a computer for 2 weeks.
Right.
And that's why there was a break between the episode or the last couple episodes. Apologize for that. And this whole studio was a fucking clusterfuck for a while. Things have been really all over the place. So we've been working on it, and we've gotten to a point where it's not too bad. So I'd like to say we're getting there. All right, we're getting there.
We're on the up and up.
We are on the up and up. And I would like to speak on it, but this is the Violet Evergarden episode, so we'll hold it for another episode.
Just random little thing. Yeah. We built a desk.
We did build a desk, and it was fantastic. Bro, we did it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And I mean, it is kind of funny though, and it's poetic in a way that we built that desk because we built this desk.
Mm-hmm. I know, we're just building desks in here, Zach. Let's just build another one. Fuck it, Zach. We need another one to hold the iMac, but the iMac is gone, Zach.
I know.
That's so sad.
I mean, we're both looking at it.
Yeah,
right now.
It's right there.
Yeah. It's just off camera, but it's like,
if we can find a way to turn that into a display bars, and then I don't know, maybe like Dremel the stand off the back of the iMac, then we make it just wall mounted. That would be fantastic.
Oh, you know what would be cool?
Mm-hmm.
Like using, and I know that we're supposed to talk about anime, but I just thought about this and it was kind of cool.
We talked about anime for the last 6 episodes, Zach. It's okay. We can have a quick tangent.
To take one of those like fatback CRT TVs and turn it into like a like an LCD. And then just like...
See, I don't know, despite me being a tech dude, I don't know how those work technically. Are they flat?
No.
Right, so they have some sort of a bunch of electronics to house that big fat part in the back, right?
Right.
So how would we... It would be cool, but that would be very difficult. But that would be very cool, but...
That's just me thinking out loud.
No, I got you. I have the CRT, I guess... Yeah, the CRT, the one in my room.
Oh,
the little tiny one that I have the GameCube connected to. So I have an adapter HDMI to RCA. I wanted to put that somewhere in the set, but despite popular belief, the set isn't that big, so it's hard. I couldn't find a place to put it. I wanted to put it in this shelf that's being covered by the wall right here, but I wasn't able to. Because I kind of want this to be here. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know where else to put it. So maybe if with the iMac doesn't make a return back behind me, then maybe we can put that there. But then again, I don't know. Would you rather have that or the iMac?
Probably the iMac.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I mean, that TV is so small.
It is really small. It's also kind of a novelty, the iMac. It's been here for so long. It's been here for so long. I think it's been here since like the first episodes.
Oh gosh, I would have to look back, but I think it's pretty damn close.
I'm very certain.
We've had the iMac for ever and a half, and it's kind of tragic to see it gone. But like there are certain things that have just been here since the very beginning, like this Shuvi figure that's just kind of chilling right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, it is there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's been a while. It's been a while, Zach. Unfortunately, the jank tripod had to go.
Yeah.
But we have to have some sort of novelty. But although, the Shubi figure, the Rem figure has been a staple. So
yeah,
it's got to stay. Anyways, let's talk about anime, Zach.
Yeah.
Now, before we start, again, part 2. I'm not going to explain why, but timelines are fucked. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Oh yeah, timelines are very, very thoroughly fucked.
But I'm not gonna explain why. So, Violet Evergarden.
Yes,
you watched it.
I did, and I
yep.
loved it. It was so good.
I recommended it to you. I kept recommending it to you. I was like, bro, I was watching. Like I said, I was watching it, and I was like, dude. As I was watching it, I'm like, Zach would love this. I was like, Zach would genuinely enjoy this so much, and I wanted to watch it with you, but I was binging it, so I was like, okay, honestly, I don't have time for a 3-episode rule. I need to finish this now. I want to, and I did. It was another Angel Beats thing where I was on a whim. I was on Netflix, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I explained this right. Yeah, I have my buddy's Netflix. And I was borrowing it for a second, and then I was like, I'm just gonna watch Violet. Yeah, let's just watch Violet Evergarden. Yeah, sure, why not? I've tried to watch this 2 times now in the past 4 years. Let's try it.
Yeah, and
I did, Zach, and I had a time. I had more than just a time, Zach. I had a time, and I'm sure you did too.
Oh yeah, and I think one of my favorite things about Violet Evergarden is just the fact that we talk about this all the time, right? The world building, character development, all of that kind of stuff in these certain shows. The world building in Violet Evergarden was just absolutely fantastic. Like it felt true to life in a way to where it almost felt like something like that could actually happen.
Right, because so for hoes who don't really know, Violet Evergarden, quick synopsis. I feel like, no, I don't know. I want to say a lot of people watched it, but Violet Evergarden isn't really the show that a lot of people watch. I mean, like compared to like Demon Slayer or something like that.
Right.
Like the normie crowd, so to speak, that, they wouldn't really watch Violet Evergarden. Excuse me, that was gross. Recommended though. Violet Evergarden is about Violet Evergarden is about a girl who was essentially trained to be a weapon for war. A very young girl. And she basically doesn't know anything besides fighting. The war ends, and now she doesn't know what to do. She was taken by her general?
Yeah.
Major.
Yeah.
Major Gilbert. And after the war, he's no longer to be seen. Slight spoiler warning, but not really, because it's like, episode 1. He's presumed to be dead. That being said, I guess technically it wasn't really confirmed at this point in time. So it's just presumed to be dead, MIA, something along those lines. And everybody just kind of ignores the fact that Violet wants to see her major, because her major is who raised her. And for now, she just trying to live life after the war, and she joins this auto memory doll service, which is basically, this is around a time where it's like, what do we say, industrial revolution-ish type of steampunky era type thing, right? And around this time post-war, there's a lot of people who don't know how to read and write, maybe read, but not so much write. So there's an auto memory doll service where there's a group of girls, it's a group of people, but usually the girls will do it. They write letters. They will have clients to say their stories or whatever it may be, write a letter and send it off. And that was their thing. Violet Evergarden wanted to do that because she wanted to learn about the words that her major told her, which was, I love you. And that was the whole premise. The classic premise, Zach, that I love so much.
Yeah.
The lifeless, emotionless character, doll, alien, robot, learning about human emotion.
Right.
My favorite. I love that, Zach. I say it so many times that it's probably annoying, but that's my one of my favorite types of stories of all time.
And it's so compelling because you never really realize how complicated and complex these emotions are until you're trying to explain it to someone who's never experienced it before.
Right.
And so in Violet's case, she was never taught emotions. She was never taught how to like interact with other human beings, and let alone how, like, her major taught her how to read and write. And basically what the major told her was, I want you to write me a daily report so that you can practice your writing. And so that's basically what she did. And I thought it was super cool that they did this in the very beginning when she started as a auto memory doll. Like, she wrote her letters like reports, like daily reports.
Yes.
And so it was really cool to see her kind of progression and seeing the content of her letters changing over the show.
Yeah. So I get, yeah, sure. We'll break into spoiler territory now, pretty early, because Violet Evergarden, it's hard to talk about it without spoiling, but I don't know. It's not really spoiling, but since there's so many different stories that get broken up, like there's like a story every episode,
right?
Or a letter, I suppose, a client, I guess it says, like she works with a client, or like basically every episode. So that means that it's hard to jump around without saying too much about another thing. So we'll say, I'll give a tentative spoiler warning. Give it a watch. It's on Netflix. Like I said, Zach, is a Netflix original. We'll get back to that, Zach. It's a Netflix original. We will get back to that. So I've explained this before, Zach. I've been trying to get into Violet Evergarden for so long. It took 4 years to watch it.
Right.
Came out in 2018. And I couldn't watch it because I was busy with school. Trying to graduate in 2018, you know.
Oh, yeah,
tough times, you know. So I had to drop it. I tried to watch it again in college, but it's college, and I got stressed out, dropped it again. And then here we are in 2022, and I tried it again, and I was able to finish it this time. And, you know, okay, I really want to skip ahead to my feelings, but I feel like we need to talk about the show first. So we're gonna talk about the show, not Bunny Girl Senpai format, but we'll talk about the show. Zach, did you cry at all? Because I cried.
So there were moments where I kind of had like a one lonesome tear, but I feel like the emotions didn't come until after I was done with the show, because I did watch it so fast, where, you know, I watched it in a couple of days.
Same.
But yeah, there were those moments where I was like on the brink of tears. And you know, this is definitely one of those shows that if I watch it again, I'm gonna cry.
Right.
Hardcore, because, you know, you don't really realize how much a character has changed until you start from the beginning again.
That's true.
Then you feel that like sense of pride of like, wow, look at how far you've come. Like, oh my God, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, this is so good.
You're not wrong. Because she came so far in only 12 episodes. Like, I actually can't believe. I wish. Okay, I mean, I guess I can. Let me find a proper picture here. Like, this is one of the first pictures you see of her.
Yeah.
Where she's, you know, she's like saluting, and in the show, she's saluting to just a normal person, you know, like it's normal, like sir or ma'am, I suppose, right? You know.
Yeah.
Because that's all she knows how to greet someone, and then as she goes on, you learn all, as you see how she progresses as a character to kind of express such emotions, which we'll talk about when we talk about the character stories. I'll talk about the character stories, Zach. But I cried a lot, Zach. Like I ugly cried, Zach. Like,
yeah.
Like the. I did that, Zach. That was me.
Yeah.
Guy like me, Zach, in my bed. You know why, Zach? Because and this is not because you did the incorrect experience, Zach. There's no such thing. Well, there's only one way to have an incorrect experience, and it's to have different things in the monitor at the same time as you watch anime.
Faux shame if you do that.
Faux shame if you do that. But what I did, Zach, and normally I would watch. So normally I have my phone, and I'm watching on my phone on my bed, right?
Right.
Laying down like this.
Horizontal.
Well, this would be. Oh yeah, I guess so. No, you're right. This would be vertical. This would be horizontal. I'm like this. I'm like this, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm watching my show. And that's that. On my bed, in your bed. It'd be in your bed, right? But yeah. I'm not inside. But I have a blanket on, so now I'd be in.
Yes.
That blanket on, Zach. I'm tucked in and I'm nice, you know. And that's how I prefer my anime watching, you know. I personally, I mean, I did it with you and I was fine. But my preferred way to watch anime is not on the desk. I feel that distracts me too much. Even if I have my monitor off or, you know, other things off, I can't get really comfortable in my super expensive gaming chair.
Irony.
I'm joking, but for productivity I can. But for like
lounging,
yeah. No, I could, but there's nothing quite lounging, or there nothing beats lounging like on your bed, Zach. You know,
right?
That feel. Okay, you can sit down on your gamer chair and be like, "Whew, all right, not bad." Is that copium for spending so much money, Zach? I'm just like, yep, this is a good chair. I don't know. Who knows? But nothing can ever beat going home, laying on your bed, slamming on your bed, and go, you know?
Yeah.
That feeling, you can't get it, maybe on a couch, a futon, something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it got to be one of those, Zach. You got to enter a horizontal state to like have that, that slow down moment.
Yeah.
Gotta have a bed. That's usually how I watch anime. And this time I did that, but not quite. Instead of my phone, Zach, I got my iPad, put it on my magic keyboard that still costs way too much money. I tucked myself in. You ever tuck yourself in, Zach?
Not really.
You ever
anymore.
tuck yourself in your bed, Zach?
Like never.
Really? Like never. You never tuck. Not just a little. You know,
I move too much, dude. Like I can't.
Not a bed tucker.
No,
not a bed tucker. I'm not either. Don't worry. But I did it. I said, "This is gonna be me. I'm gonna be this."
You're like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself in a fabric cocoon and enjoy this show how it's meant to be enjoyed.
The true movie theater experience in a cocoon. I tucked my bitch in, Zach. Minus my arms, because I wanted to move my arms. I put the iPad on my chest. You know how close an iPad has to be on your chest?
Very close.
Like it's like this, Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, not that close. Maybe my upper abdomen. Maybe not quite my chest. That is pretty close when I think about it. Upper abdomen-ish, right? Mm-hmm. Not my stomach, because that would just be uncomfortable. And I'm just like looking. It's like this close. Full ass iPad, Zach. 12.9 inch iPad Pro, Zach. Not the M1, so it doesn't have mini LED, but you can fuck yourself.
He said what he said.
I said what I said. And frankly, technically, my phone is a better screen because that's still LCD. They still use LCD, and this is OLED.
Right.
But it's still a bigger screen, and like, sure, you see the blacks illuminating, but when you're, focused, I don't need to explain black bars any more than I've already had in this show, Zach.
Yeah.
You kind of forget about it. It ends up being dead space, and you don't think about it. But also, it is, even though it is 16:9, it's an iPad, so it's a taller aspect ratio, so you inherently get black bars, but you forget about that as you watch, right? And yeah, Zach, I was in my most vulnerable state, Zach. This is as vulnerable as I get, Zach. Right. I can't defend myself mentally or physically. If someone breaks into my room, I'd be like, well, I'm fucked. Just shoot me. I can't move. Just do it. At least let me finish this episode first, please.
You're like, I'm about to watch the finale. Please
just you can watch with me.
Here, I'll open up the blankets. Come here.
I've put all my guards down, Zach.
Right.
All of it. And because of that, I let the floodgates go. And every time there was a sad moment, which is all the time in that show, I fucking lost it. Yeah. And that was my Violet Evergarden viewing experience. It was fantastic. And, oh, man.
So I had an interesting viewing experience because I was able to have a little bit of variety with it because I started on my computer, like at my gaming setup. Mm-hmm. And then my parents went out of town and I have like a 85 inch flat screen TV. So like, and like a sound system and shit.
That'd be so sick. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so I ended up watching a bit of it like that. Mm-hmm. Which was just an absolutely magical experience.
Oh, I'm sure.
Dude, it's so interesting the difference in like the immersion, and obviously nothing beats like the noise canceling headphones and like
sure.
that kind of stuff.
AirPod Pros,
Yeah, but nothing really beats being able to be horizontal on a couch, just chilling out and and just having having it up on a giant ass TV.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Of course.
it was amazing. But yeah, it was a fantastic experience.
You know, I might watch the Violet Evergarden. We haven't watched the movies yet or anything yet. I might watch the movie downstairs with the surround sound setup. That would be kind of a fucking vibe.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, that's how it's supposed to be watched.
That's
really.
true. That is true. The IMAX experience. Although not quite IMAX because it's a TV, but
close enough.
Close enough. I'll get a projector.
Bro, I would love to get like a 4K projector and just like go ham.
The older I get, the more I think about how I would love to have a TV in front of my bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the I mean, I think everybody does, but the older I get, I start to think you know what? I think this is way more ideal than anything else, really.
Yeah.
So I do think about that, but it had to be a good TV. Like a really good one. Like I'm not putting this one up there, Zach. I'm sorry. Like I love it. It's treating us good, Zach, you know?
Right.
It's done the deed and it's treated us fantastic over the years, but with technology now, and if I'm going to have a bed over or a TV over my dip bed, I want an experience. Or not over, sorry. I mean like in front. That would be quite an experience as well.
If I have a bed over my TV.
If I have a TV bed over, Zach, that would be quite an experience. Or a projector, that'd be cool. Because I told you, Zach, I'd be playing Genshin on my iPad, Zach. On my bed with a controller.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, and it's a time, Zach. But I think about it like, you know what would be more of a time? If I connected my iPad to a overhead projector that shot to my wall, and then I played Genshin like that. Now that would be a time, Zach.
Anyways, back to
But yeah, that viewing experience. Look, listen. Again, watch whatever makes you comfortable, because whatever makes you comfortable is going to be how you would enjoy it the most, right? So, and there's a lot of shows where, I mean, it's blasphemy, but sure, you can argue that you don't have to be too into it to get the full experience. Violet Evergarden, it is worth getting into it to get that experience. Okay,
yeah.
All right. So please treat yourself. Just lay down. You don't have to tuck yourself in, but do what you need to do. Lay down. You know, if you have a gamer chair, reclining chair on your, just you know, do one of those on your setup.
Yeah, I think Violet Evergarden is one of those shows where they just want to take you on a roller coaster,
right?
And so you know, you just kind of want to be a part of it.
Zach, you got to buckle up, Zach. You got to tuck yourself in.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I mean, you know, depending on how you want to watch it, and you know, that can kind of change your experience with the show. Sure. And I know that we wanted to touch on this a little bit, but speaking of like how you watch a show, how you watch like movies and that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to like anime, I know that you wanted to kind of briefly touch on the dub versus sub kind of thing.
Okay, so the reason why I did want to bring it up is because Jackson, who'll be on the show, he will be on the show next episode, and he watched Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
I don't know how far he's in, but he's been watching it, and you told me that he's been watching it in dub.
Yeah.
So, couple problems. I'm joking. So, I do want to talk about this because before you click off, I do have quite the speech to make, I suppose. An improvised speech, so bear with me. Because go. I have a lot of things to talk about as far as how I feel about dub versus sub, just in general, because I'm not... Zach, I'm an old guy, Zach. I'm 72.
Right.
And as I get older, Zach, I'm going to turn 82 tomorrow. And I start to think about things that, or rather, I start to play, I want to say devil's advocate, but that's not the right word. Play the other side more. Play ball in the other park more, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously, I've always done that, but in a different way. Not necessarily for viewpoint reasons, but just, well, I mean, sure, for viewpoint reasons, but not necessarily to support my reason, but just to see it.
Right.
Just to experience, just to know. And, oh, did you hear that? That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came across. Hopefully it didn't. Otherwise, I'm going to have to deal with that. Anyways. Anuki editing the podcast? Blasphemy. All right. So this is, I'm not just going to sit here and say, oh, sub is better than the dub. Oh, you watch dub, you're garbage. You know, dub is garbage, you know? That's the classic debate, you know? The classic one-sided debate in the anime community. Where sub and dub is divided. And if you watch dub, you're just inferior. Now, they're half right, but for different reasons.
I mean, they're right.
They're half right. They're right, but not for the reasons you think. It's not because dub is trash.
Right.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. So, I've said it a couple times. I don't know how many times I've said it, Zach, in this podcast, but I kind of really like Seiyu.
Yeah.
A lot. And for those who don't know, in case just tuning in, hi. Seiyu refers to voice actors and actresses in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I say Seiyu and not voice actor and voice actresses is because they're more than just voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
They do all sorts of things.
Right.
Photo shoots, live events, radio shows, event meetings, live action, dramatic stage performances.
Right.
They're icons. They're known faces, known names.
Right.
They're celebrities. They're idols. Right? And that's all I need to say for those who understand idol culture in Japan. If you don't, that's a topic for another day, I gotta say. But they're looked up to as these basically just gods, because they are. But you know, these crazy celebrity human beings who are very talented, and because of that, their performance their performance reflects that.
Right.
And so that's one side of the equation. The other side, which is the obvious one, is, well, Japanese is the intended form of the intended language for that form of media, anime being. So the moving lip flaps, Zach, the sentence structures and timings,
right?
It's timed for Japanese phrases. So what happens when you have a Japanese phrase that can be translated into English in 3 to 4 words?
Right.
You know, it sounds like this.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? I'm joking, but I'm not mocking English dub. Now here's where the argument jumps in, Zach. I don't hate dub. That's not the point. That's not the point of my argument right now. If you don't know very much about Seiyu, I've said it in previous podcast episodes, but I feel like it's probably a good time to explain it now. So there's many videos on it. Anuki, the Monkey King, as everybody knows in the space, he did a video where he essentially went through the process of becoming a Seiyu. You know, seeing the schooling, how that schooling works, recording and doing an actual mock recording, I suppose, a mock recording of an actual anime that was airing with the actual voice actress of the main, which was really cool. And there's I've already known about a lot of it. That was very insightful. It was a good video. I recommend you watch. It's like an hour long. It's very cool. And the way Seiyus do voice acting is very different from the West. Very different. And in the West, I mean, you can have like people come in, and especially because they're doing voice acting for media overseas as well. So they can't be in the studio. They can't be in the booths, you know? They're doing it in their own home, or they might be with another person. Oh, who knows? But generally speaking, they're going to be in their own home, in a room that's probably incredibly sound treated, sure, with their mic, and you know, they're doing all the things. And I'm sure they're great. I'm sure their reels are their example reels are great, and I'm sure they have a range of voices and emotions, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they're bad, because I grew up in Western media and Western voice acting and cartoons, SpongeBob and Rick and Morty, Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fantastic performances. So what happens when you have something that's already good and you compare it to something that's God tier?
Right. And I think it's hard to make that comparison because they're in two different weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
Because the attention to detail and the seriousness of the seiyuu that work on shows like Violet Evergarden and a bunch of different anime, you know, their attention to detail is just so good. And like, you know, like you were saying, like you've seen videos of them doing recordings, and it's just crazy. Like the way that they're able to bring that versatility of the voice, because, you know, you don't really think about it this way, but like voice actors, the only thing that they can use to portray their character like themselves is through their voice. And so when you have someone who's able to do such a fucking phenomenal job of doing that, and I think Violet Evergarden's a great example of the seiyuu doing just an absolutely like S tier, God tier job of amazing voice acting and like just God tier.
Oh, okay.
And okay, let me shit,
man. Yes.
So I don't want to sound like I'm like, oh, English dubs are shit. You know, because that's not the point that I'm trying to make.
Because they are. I'm joking. That was a joke. That was an off. That was a sucker punch. That was not. That was an uncool. That was just off shot.
Uncalled for.
Very, very uncalled for. Anyways,
so English voice actors can do an amazing job, and especially when it comes to anime and that kind of stuff, like they can do a really great job. And I mean, you know, the shows that I watched when I was a kid that were from Japan, like Dragon Ball Z and like that kind of stuff, you know, Naruto, like all of that was in English dub.
Yes,
and I didn't know that there was a Japanese version of it, because obviously I was a little kid and, you know, I didn't know. But, you know, they portrayed the characters well. They did what was intended of them.
Yes.
And they did a good job. And I'm not trying to say that the English dub is bad. It's just with the seiyuu who work on anime in Japan, they're able to have so much more interaction when it comes to like the process of portraying their characters. And like, you know, if lines aren't lining up to the lip flaps and movements and that kind of stuff, then that stuff can kind of be adjusted before it's released. And so they're able to have such a high attention to detail that, you know, that does make it easier for them. And of course they do a killer job, and it's just like fucking
yes, of course.
And so it's not really fair to compare the vocal performance of the seiyuu in Japan and the voice actors here in the West, because basically what the English voice actors are trying to do is replicate what they did in Japan.
Yes.
Which is like almost impossible, you know? And so that's kind of my thought process on it, where it's like, you know, it's not really a fair comparison, because you have the animators working with the seiyuu working with the direction team and like all of that stuff, and they're able to have so much more leeway and kind of they're able to work on and tweak and adjust the way that, you know, their character is portrayed, and then in the West they're trying to play catch up.
Well, I mean, even like the way they do the voice acting is different. I was trying to get into that. So the here in the West, typically, especially if they're going to do voice acting overseas, they're in their sound treated room, they have their mic, they're doing their thing, right? They have recordings, or they do their recordings, they send it off. And over there, Zach, in Godland,
In anime land.
In weeb land, in weeb world,
right,
known as Japan, it's on a fucking another level.
Right.
So, I get, yeah, because this is going to be the episode, I guess I'll run through it again. So the way they do it, and this can vary for different ways, but the way I've seen and known it is that essentially all the Seiyu within the I don't know, maybe the cuts or just whatever they're going to record for that day, potentially just a whole episode, are in a room, one room. There's mics, Zach, like 3 or 4 mics in that room, Zach. You know, just a, you know, Neumann U87, Zach, $3,000 microphones, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, just they're all together. And what that means is that they don't just voice act, Zach. They perform.
Right.
They're essentially creating a theatrical performance right there on the spot. Talking to each other, feeding off of each other's emotions, you know?
Right.
One good example from Connor's video, I am going to use an example from the lab because I feel like it's a really accessible tool, resource for a lot of people. In a way that's fun to watch and easy to watch, so I do recommend watching it. So I will reference that. But there was this, so when he was voice acting, Connor, that is, when he was oh, excuse me, that was yours. When he was voice acting with the main Seiyu for the Mira, the main girl for the anime.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a mock recording of an actual scene in the anime, right? And he was doing it in Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were having this time, you know, and he was obviously like breaking his Japanese and stuff, and he was doing his best, right? But she was saying, like, you know, the only really problem that she had with his acting was just he didn't understand the language. That's it. Because generally, like the energy that he gave off, you know, the way, and you know, there was this moment where they were laughing or whatever, and he was kind of laughing at her, and she was like getting annoyed by it. She was like, the way he laughed was really natural, and it helped me feel like I was actually angry at him. You know, this playing off of each other that feels so natural, that and that's that natural that you need for, you know, this naturalness that you need in such a compressed form of media that can almost feel really linear, that can almost feel really so just, you know, script read, just read off of a script, you know, of a teleprompter. And yes, they are reading off a script, but you know, you have moments where they might improvise or they might add things. They might articulate their voice different than what the script had intended because they felt like it was right. Obviously, I don't know to what extent the director might want it to be, though. So that might not be the case. That might be the case. But they have this energy that you just don't get from someone being in a room alone and just talk. Zach, if this was just a podcast with me and not you, or a podcast with just you and not me, this would be a very different conversation.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like what? I don't have anyone to bounce an idea off of. I don't have anybody to agree with me. I don't have anybody to disagree with me. I don't have anybody to add details that I wanted to add or didn't think about to add.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be able to laugh at each other. It would just, what the fuck would I be laughing at, Zach?
Right.
I'd be hysterically laughing at myself.
Right.
With someone who's not here.
Right. It's like if we film this podcast, but you were by yourself in this room, you know, and you read everything that you were supposed to say and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
because this is a scripted podcast.
And then later on, I would come in here and do my side of things, just completely independent from you.
That would be so weird. Oh my God, that would be so weird.
I don't know if I would be able to like function as a human. I know. Because I would just be looking at like a disembodied chair, and then like just imagine for a second like me sitting here talking to you, and then the camera pans over and you're just like empty. You're just not there.
They're like, I know, right, Arthur? And it's like, yeah. Anyways,
just crickets.
That's so funny. But that's how it would be, right? And again, with that being said, kudos to English dub voice actors who are able to do that and still portray what they need to portray.
Right.
Very talented individuals. Something I could never do.
Oh, God, no.
So,
by the way, I didn't mean like, oh God, no, you could never do it.
Oh,
like, I
no,
would
no.
never be able to do it too.
yeah, exactly. It was just not. They're very talented people.
Yeah.
And it's more than just saying voices. There's all sorts of things to consider. Such of which you would have to, some would even go to schooling for it, for voice acting.
Right.
It's going to schooling for talking, Zach. Because
I have to learn how to talk. I cannot talk very good. So now I have to go to school and learn how to talk.
Exactly. Zach, it's not honest English. This is honest English 3, Zach. That's what that type of shit is, Zach.
No, this is English 301.
This is English 5,000, Zach. There's not even 1,000. There's a 1,000 level class, Zach. This is 5,000. So
it's over 9,000.
And then also, Zach, in the studio over there in Weepland, they got a sound guy.
They got a guy.
They got a guy, Zach.
Yeah.
He's hearing the sound. They got a guy hearing the thing, telling the sound guy to do things. They have a director, Zach. They have producers, Zach.
Right.
They have a team, Zach. And Zach, the sound guy is not, hi, I'm talking like this. I'm voice acting right now. You hear they recorded in Audacity, and then they remove and they change things like, all right, pretty good, yep. Zach, you ever seen see that over there, Zach? That's a mixer, Zach.
Yeah.
You ever see a sound studio, Zach?
It's like 20 of those combined.
It's like this big ass panel of all these dials and shit, Zach. You know what the sound guy is doing, Zach?
Turning knobs and
He's
shit.
hearing you talk, you're talking, and he's going, okay, this one. Oh, this one back up. Oh, this one right here. This frequency right here. Oh, I can hear. Oh, I hear this odd resonance. I'm going to knock it down by maybe like there. Just a little bit. Perfect.
It was perfection.
Zach, are we doing that?
No. And the more that you explain it, the more that I find it crazy. And like,
Zach, they have a team.
Yeah. It's like the only way that I can explain it is like the amount of people that are involved in like a live performance on stage.
Yeah.
You know, you have sound guy, you have
Light
obviously
guy
not
and-
light guy because they're in a booth.
But it's part of the team, Zach.
Yeah, you have like the director, you have all the people behind the scenes who are like pulling the strings, making sure everything happens correctly, and then you have the people who are on the stage doing the acty-doos, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so for all of that to work, it requires a team.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to be able to give the best vocal performance that they can, there has to be physicality to it, you know? And
Zach,
I love
Zach, do they have a secretary that's giving them coffee? The Uchimashimasu. Hai, coffee dozo, coffee dozo. Hey, arigatou gozaimasu. They have that, Zach. The tea with honey in it.
It's so good.
They have a guy to turn the lights on and off, Zach.
They have a light guy.
They do have a light guy. They ended up having a light guy. And it's the intern who also is giving them the coffee and the tea with the honey in it, Zach.
It's good for the vocal flaps.
It's not fair.
Right.
You know?
I think that that's the main point that you and I are both trying to kind of come
it's-
across with.
Right. I mean, it's just not fair.
Right.
So, I mean, okay. If you were to watch a film in French, what language would you like to watch it in, Zach?
I mean, French.
French. Why?
Because it looks derpy as shit. Like, and I mean, okay, live action dubbed is just the most goofy looking thing I have ever seen. Like, especially if it was like Japanese to English. Like, I just imagine like them talking and their lips moving like,
oh, the classic, like the old Japanese black and white films were like,
hello.
They're like, hello. Also, along with that,
also,
how many alsos have I done so far, Zach?
like 5.
I like 5. I'm doing 6.
Also.
The culture and the culture and of the culture of which resides around the language of that certain media, of that respective media. The culture around the Japanese language, the slang and the lingo they might use, the phrases, the inside jokes that, or even like the way one may say a certain sentence could reflect heavily on different things.
Right.
And that all has to do with your knowledge on the language.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot replicate that in another language. Right. It's too unique to each in their own. English has it as well.
And it's like if you're trying to directly translate like, oh, dude, that's sick in Japanese.
Yeah.
It's like, are they ill?
Are they
like,
ill?
Yeah.
Are they okay?
or like, oh yeah, that's garbage. Then why don't we throw it away? It needs to go in the garbage can. Like, if it is physical garbage, then it needs to be thrown away.
Well, they have their own for garbage, but yeah, we're just saying examples, but they have their own examples,
right?
So how do you translate that? Well, you could translate that, but does the meaning get across, Zach? Does it reach you? Sorry.
Why did you have to bring that up, man?
Can the meaning get across for something that cannot be translated correctly? That's tough, especially when it has to be translated so literally.
Right.
When it has to be interpreted kind of like a telephone game almost, but not exactly. But it has to be interpreted. A meaning has to be interpreted, decided upon how it's going to be interpreted by a team.
Right.
Translated and adjusted and like, yep, okay, this is it. This is good enough. This is what we're gonna do. And it's possible, but it's just not the same. Yeah. So how do you solve this? Well, just watch it in the language.
Right.
You know, Zach, the classic, Zach. This is supposed to be a Violet Evergarden episode. You know the classic, Zach? The classic excuse.
I don't want to read.
I've graduated high school. I'm 23. I don't want to read a sentence here and there. Zach, when I'm on Twitter, what am I doing, Zach?
Reading.
I'm reading. I'm reading right now. Reading doesn't mean, like, I think we associate reading with just like, oh, like a book or something, or a manga or something.
Right.
No, reading is looking at letters and transcribing, your brain transcribing that into things that make sense. That's what reading is. And you do that for books and manga. That's what that is.
Right.
Reading is just looking at a picture. Look, do you know why reading a Japanese or an English subtitle in Japan and in an anime, for example, is not the same thing as reading a sentence in a book?
Your brain kind of subconsciously understands what's going on.
Because it's a language that we know very well.
Right.
Now, I say this all the time. You cannot learn Japanese from anime if you have English subs. You don't do that because with the Japanese is there, and it does help. The Japanese, even though you don't understand it, it helps bring the flow to the sentence so you're not just guessing. Right? That's there. That's part of it. Even if you don't know Japanese, you don't know the culture behind it, the whole thing I just said, even if you don't know any of that, you're able to hear it because we can hear things and use that to embody where the sentence is going to go. And we use that to read the sentence subconsciously in our head. And speaking of subconsciously, Zach, yes, you look at a sentence, Zach, you're watching your anime, Zach, and the sentence comes up. And yes, that ends up being reading, and then the average person, I don't want to really, sure, I'm watching this to watch it, not to read it, right?
Right.
That's a valid argument, Zach. That you pose. You, Zach, dub watcher, dub connoisseur. That's a valid argument because, well, I'll just read the book or something, or watch the manga. Why am I here to read?
Right.
To which case, yeah, you should read the manga. Yeah, that'd be you have quite a time.
It's a pretty good manga.
Anyways, yes, you are reading. So why am I watching this right now? Or why am I reading? I want to watch this. I want to lay in my bed, on my couch, on my gamer chair, on the ground, on the floor. Glue my eyeballs to a screen, ignore everything around it, and just watch and just look and hear.
So something that I found through my limited anime experience is that I find that I'm forced to be more engaged because if I'm not watching, then I have no idea what the hell is going on. So I can't be sitting there, scrolling on Instagram or whatever, doing whatever I do while it's on in the background because
you can't hear it. You can't. Yeah, you don't understand what they're saying. Yeah, they're speaking a language you don't know.
Right. And so if you're forced to watch and, read, then that opportunity for you to become even more engaged into the story that's going on outside of the subtitles, like that just makes everything more engaging, I guess.
I love psychology and I love brain shit. Neurology.
Do brains shit?
They technically do, Zach. They shit information. So
that was so bad.
Zach, you ever be driving, doing your thing, Zach, right? Just driving as one does here.
Yeah.
And then you're driving, and then you kind of not wake up, but you kind of snap out of just really quick, and all of a sudden you're somewhere else, but you're still on the route of which you were going to.
Yeah.
You just knocked the fuck out for like 5 minutes while driving.
Bro, I had that happen to me where like I got in my car and then I snapped back to reality when I was pulling into my work.
Yes.
And I was like, how did I get here?
Yes, because Zach,
your brain goes on autopilot.
Your brain goes on autopilot, Zach.
Right.
Your brain knows this road. Your brain knows where you need to go, this building, what it looks like, what the turns are. It knows when to look both ways, and it knows when to bring you back in case you need to react.
Yes.
And it does this subconsciously.
Right.
Subconsciousness is probably the most fascinating thing of all, of anything that has to do with human beings, other than perhaps emotion. Violet Evergarden, perhaps, right? For example, that is. Subconscious, this idea of the subconscious where you're not thinking of what you're doing, but you're doing it anyways. Breathing, Zach, speaking in the tongue of my language, with the way my tongue moves, to pronounce certain words differently.
Right.
Of which then if I were to do Japanese, I would have to think about, okay, my tongue needs to be here in order to,
Yeah. I mean,
walking?
Right. And an interesting thing, well, also your heart beating, blood going throughout your entire body.
Heart beat now. Heart beat again. Do it.
For me, it's really interesting because subconsciously I'll switch between English and ASL depending on who I'm talking to.
Yes.
Like if I end up meeting a deaf person, immediately I just switch.
Yes.
And then I start signing. And then, vice versa, like whatever. That's just like a knee-jerk reaction to kind of flip that switch. And the subconscious of your brain is so powerful. And like, I guess to apply that to watching anime, it's like you can see the words going by,
right?
But you don't have to consciously digest exactly what it's saying.
Yes.
And you know, there will be times where like a huge paragraph will pop up and then it'll just disappear and you're like, and then you'll have to like, you know, you have to back.
Yeah, you might have to back. Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, that does kind of break a little bit from the immersion, just a little bit.
Yeah,
not that much in my opinion. Like you're like, okay, skip back 10 seconds, which it shouldn't be 10 seconds. It should be like 5 seconds. 10 seconds is some bullshit, Zach. Who the fuck said
that is some bullshit?
Who's the in YouTube, Zach? You can change it to 5 seconds. Greatest thing of all time. I recommend doing it,
bro. The arrow keys, these guys are 5 seconds. These are 10 seconds, I think.
Is it? I did not know that. That's good to know. I'm never gonna do 10 seconds.
I could be.
I would rather just press the arrow key twice, Zach, because I have that choice. But when you're on YouTube and you double tap, it's 10 seconds. You're like, what?
And then you're gonna forget why you backed up in the first place.
I've done that, Zach. I'm like, wait, why did I do this? And then you know what I do, Zach? I'm like, okay, well, I backed up too far. I may as well keep watching. And then the thing happens, and I subconsciously intake it as if because my brain knew I needed that new information that I forgot about, and I keep watching the video, Zach. Subconscious. You know what language? You know what written language is, Zach?
Just a bunch of symbols and
they're a bunch of symbols and shapes, Zach, that you recognize when they're together.
Geometry.
The English language, any language. Why are there so many different languages, Zach, that have their own writing system? And they're all different. All of them are different in the way they're arranged together.
Right. And I think a really frustrating example is Chinese kanji and Japanese kanji.
Right. Well, Chinese kanji and Japanese kanji are basically the same thing. It's more so that Chinese, every single word is kanji.
Yeah.
But, well, you know, give or take. And they're also pronounced differently. But you pose that point. But yeah, they are pronounced differently depending on its use case. But
he said it. Use case.
Oh, he did it. Oh, he got bingo. He got bingo over there.
Yeah.
So,
you won a prize.
Kanji in general is a great example, Zach.
Yeah.
Because if you ask someone in Nihongo land, Zach, yeah, you pose a sentence or just a kanji, and they look at it and they read it. No questions asked. Right.
Right.
But you ask what it means or why is it read that way? And they're like, because this line now it is true that, I mean, sure, they could probably for some kanji, yeah, they could probably do that. Probably makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I know for a fact that a lot of it is just so natural and innate. Or not innate, sorry. Innate would be born, right? Born with. Rather, it's instilled into their brain from the moment they were born, Zach. The moment they entered this world, they see Japanese, they see kana, they see kanji. And they're like, oh, mom, man, what does that mean? And they're like, oh, shut the fuck up, kid. And they don't do that. But
also, I don't think they would say that in English.
That would be very weird.
Just imagine in like a Japanese household, just like everyone speaking Japanese, and then the mom's like, shut the fuck up, you little shit. The little kid's like confused in Japanese.
Confused in Japanese. Screaming in Spanish. They understand these kanji. And they learn it in school and stuff, right? And I mean, we do the same for English, right?
Yeah.
We learn the structures and all that. But how much do you retain, Zach? I'm in honors English. I did honors English too, Zach, and I retained something. I only retained the little bits of information that I can remember. But what I really did was store it into my subconscious for my brain to use these rules that I learned and apply it to where I need to apply it.
Right.
Where it needs to apply, and to not think about where to apply it. That was the point of that class. Basically, it was also to read, but I didn't do that. So we're familiar with that idea as well.
Right.
Which is why I can look at a word like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I already knew that you were going to use it.
Because of course I was going to use that, Zach. And I can look at that and I can see that's what that is. And then it's not because it's a big fucking word and I'm like, okay, this is probably supercalifragilistic. I don't even have to look. But just in general, like, let's say a really, really hard... You ever just be reading, Zach? Whatever it may be.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Oh my fucking God. That was fucked. Good shit.
I have no idea what it means. I just know it's a long word.
Yeah.
Wait, okay.
But let's say I'm on Twitter, Zach, and I'm doing the thing, Zach. I'm swiping my finger very fast, Zach. You know?
Yeah.
And I see this word. Yep. I see this word. Anti-establishmentarianism. I just read that, Zach.
Yeah.
How the fuck did I do that, Zach? I haven't heard. That was the first time I ever heard that word, Zach.
Right.
So let's say I see this word on Twitter. On YouTube. I see this in the title of a YouTube video, Zach. And I look at that word and I read it out. And I'd be like, all right, cool.
Oh, I bet.
How the frick did I do that, Zach? Did I sit there and look at the structure of the word? Okay, I did not, Zach. I looked at the shapes. I looked at how they're made together. And I was like, okay, cool. That's the word.
Right.
Because their written language is just linguistics, Zach.
Right.
Is very cool.
Right. And we are, and I mean, once you get to the point where you're like in high school or even in middle school, like the types of things that you would read while you're watching anime would just be super easy because a lot of times it's just conversational.
Yes.
And so, you know, you're used to talking to someone.
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know, Zach. We're talking about we're talking about anime watchers, Zach.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I'm one of them. Don't worry. I'm one of you. I don't leave my house, Zach.
There's a reason why we've only ever had like 3 guests on this show.
You're not wrong. Come on now. Hey now. We have friends. Come on.
We have fun here in the office. But point being, you know, the things that you hear and say on a day-to-day basis, if it's written out, like, you know, it's just like subconscious. Like when you're talking to someone, you don't see words written in your brain. But
well, going back to that driving example, Zach.
Yeah.
You just drove from your house to your workplace.
In Tigard.
How many miles is that, Zach?
Oh, gosh. Like 30 something miles.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And you can convert that into K miles if you'd like.
But in freedom feet.
And freedom measurements. It's currently 42 degrees freedom. You're doing that drive, that you're making this commute, and you make this almost every day.
Right.
Almost every day, Zach, you make this commute. You make these same turns back over and over and over again. And Zach, you're driving, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was weird. And you're out of like this stoplight. Zach, you passed 3 stoplights. 3! And they were all turns. They were all left turns. And one of them was a right turn that you had to stop and wait for a pedestrian to walk by. And then you made the turn.
You had to yield to oncoming traffic.
How did you do that? Wow, knock the fuck out.
Okay, we're not saying that we're falling asleep.
No, don't do. No, we're not. We're not. But are we, Zach? Are we really, Zach?
You just kind of go.
Pay attention to the road. This is not me telling you. Oh yeah, because you know exactly what to do. You can look on your phone. You know when to turn. You know. Bad. No. Bad. Bonk.
Bonk. Boom. No. Okay. We are looking at the road. We just might not be comprehending what is happening.
That's the thing, right? But while we're subconsciously, we are looking at the road.
Yes, exactly. That's the point. We are subconsciously ingesting information and making decisions based on that without us having to make a conscious thought to do so.
And I think our brain knows when something is not routine.
Right.
And then it snaps you back instantly. like instantaneously, and that's where you're like, and then I need to stop really quick, or I should probably yield this really quick because there's a person walking by. Something that's not normal in that commute. Your brain will be like, nope, get back. And you're like, okay, we're back, all good, no worries, we're chilling. Don't even think about it, Zach.
I bet.
I bet. Yeah, shit. Yeah, you walk by. It's all good, man. We chilling.
Yeah, but like if you apply that idea to like watching anime per se and watching it in subtitles, like when I was watching Violet Evergarden, I wasn't making a conscious effort to read the subtitles. It just kind of happened because when I
know these words.
Yeah, and also, I've been through this song and dance before. And so with anything, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Like when we watched Erased, I was like, oh, this is going to be weird. And then I got like 3 episodes in and I was like, I fucking love this. This is cool. And, the idea of your brain working while you're not like forcing it to work, like you're ingesting all of the information in the subtitles while you're watching it, and it turns into just second nature. Like I'm sure that you don't even think about reading the subtitles while you're watching anime.
Of course not.
So that idea of it becoming subconscious over the course of time, I think that's hard for people to understand because they're like, wait, but you're reading and watching at the same time.
So does one eyeball go up and your other eyeball go down, or
they're like, I don't understand.
I understand why they would think that.
Right.
But it's not. It's way simpler. Your brain is doing the work, Zach.
Yeah.
It might take a second. It might take a couple episodes to figure it out. I bet you, Zach. This morning, Zach Jackson texted me, said, "Okay, where do I watch Demon Slayer and such?" And I was like, all right, this is where you do it. Obviously, legally. But
Crunchyroll.
He's going to do it subbed. So this is going to be weird for a second.
Right.
Zach, he's going to watch Mugen Train. By the end of Mugen Train, he's going to be so enticed into the storyline.
Right.
That he probably wouldn't even realize, oh, I've been reading these subtitles the entire time. Oh.
I've been listening to Japanese this entire time, and I didn't even realize it.
So I understand. Okay, look, and we're planning a trip to Japan, right? To the Nihongos.
Yes.
Any foreigner who enters another country who speaks speaking a different language from their own, they want to be able to communicate and stuff as a human being. So they have this, they will feel a comfort whenever their language appears.
Right.
Right. If I go to Japan and I want to speak English and we try to, I don't know, order something maybe, and then the waitress starts talking in English.
Yeah.
That relief, that comfort, that's fantastic. That's great,
Yeah.
I understand that. There's that comfort of being in an area of unknown and having a known source of light, right?
Yeah.
In this dark tunnel of which you don't know anything. I get that. That's understandable. But and that's why, okay, yeah, so I don't want to think about it. I just want to listen to them speak, and that's all I want to do. And they're speaking my language, that's perfect. Whether it be English or French or whatever it may be. Thank you,
Yeah.
But you do get that. It's just in the form of reading.
Right.
But as we just explained, it's not reading.
It's more so ingesting.
Yes.
Your brain is like vacuuming in information and processing it, and then being like, oh, okay, so this is what's happening without you even really needing to think about it.
Brains do these calculations in milliseconds, microseconds, nanoseconds.
They do the big thinkies.
They do, Zach. Even if your reflexes aren't very fast.
Right.
I like to think my reflexes are pretty okay, and I did track, so I got used to, the.
For some reason, I immediately thought of just something to throw at you.
Rude. You don't have anything on hand, so you'd have to throw a prop. So good luck, Zach. But
I miss my Charmander.
Oh, it's up there. But that's just how powerful the brain is. I don't need to tell you this. I read really slow, Zach. It's tragic. You know, Zach, I don't know if I said that. I did the preschool class, right?
Yeah.
In Prairie, in our high school, we have a class where we don't do preschool. That would be weird. We help out at a preschool.
Yeah.
So we station the kids into different stations and stuff, and we help work with them to do like, different activities, for arts and craft, math, that type of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a section where you read with them.
Right.
Zach, there's nothing more tragic than me being in a group, being the oldest person in there because it's usually a group of a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, and I'm a senior, Zach, and me trying to read to children. Mm-hmm. There is absolutely nothing more tragic than me trying to read to children. They'd be like, "Sir, are you really a senior?" Yes, I am. I did honors English too. Don't talk to me. In this same school. I did it upstairs.
I took calculus.
That's in the building next over. Don't talk to me like that. I didn't do that, but did I? No, I am so bad at reading.
Right.
And I don't know why. I'm not dyslexic. I may as well be though. But I think I have, the classic problem where my brain goes too fast before I try to, say the word out loud or whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at pacing that. But I can still read the subtitles, Zach. Right.
Okay, I just realized something very interesting that I never really thought about. So when you're sitting there, doing the monkey type things.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, yes.
You're reading as fast as you're typing.
So monkey type, by the way, is like a word typing, like the race car typing thing, like one of those typing games, typing tester, so you can take a word per minute, right? Yes. Monkey type, there are no sentences.
Right.
Well, there can be if you want to, but it's just random words. So you don't even have the chance to... Oh my God, I'm getting the burp, sorry.
No context clues, nothing.
No context clues. You type what you see.
Yeah.
So very fun. Very fun. Very fun.
Monkey see, monkey type.
Monkey type.
And so the idea that you're reading and, you type at, God, like 100 words per minute, something like that.
I can do it every now and then. I'm more like at 80, 90. High 80, low 90.
It's weird to think that we're like at the same spot now. I'm like 80, 85, 90.
That is true. Used to be you've came a long way, Zach. I'm so proud of you.
It's because of my custom built keyboard by Papa Anuki. But anyways, your brain can process information so much faster than you think it can. Mm-hmm. And so when you think, "Oh, I'm a slow reader, what if I can't ingest all the information before the subtitles go away?" Mm-hmm. Well, you probably will, more than likely. Mm-hmm. It just might require a little bit of the big thinkies for you to be able to do it initially. And then, as most things go, the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yes, the more you figure it out, Zach.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say you would have a problem with is probably things that cannot be translated, like Japanese names, mm-hmm. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That will probably be pretty... That would probably warrant a skip back, a 10-5 seconder,
Yeah. And I found with that I just listen to the way that they pronounce it, and that's just how I read it.
Well, Zach, because they pronounce it the way it's spelled out.
Oh shit, you're right.
There you go. Easy peasy, bruh.
Easy squeezy. Do you want to talk about Violet Evergarden?
Yeah, we should get. So sorry for my rant there. I just felt like. Yeah, thank you for that. I just felt like, listen, to spark notes that essentially is just, I don't hate dub. I'm not telling you to hate dub. I'm not telling you to switch to sub. I'm telling you to try one or the other. If you watch sub, try dub. If you watch dub, try sub. I guarantee you will. Maybe you might not. You can, and if you do, and don't just do 5 minutes. No, watch 2 to 3 episodes of it. Really put yourself in there, Zach. If you're a dub watcher, watch 2, 3. Watch a show, Zach, a whole ass show in sub. I guarantee you, by the end of the show, you'll be easy peasy.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. No worries at all. First couple episodes will be rough. You kind of get the hang of it after the next couple episodes, and then you're like, all right, let's keep watching dub. Let's keep watching sub.
And then you end up binge watching the entire thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Win-win. So don't. This is just like this age-old debate that doesn't need to be a debate anymore, Zach. We're in this era where everybody's watching anime. We don't need to gatekeep anymore, Zach. We don't need to do any of this stuff. Everybody, watch anime. Watch Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. Watch Erased and Bunny Girl Senpai. Watch Clannad. Watch Naruto. Watch One Piece. Watch JoJo.
Angel Beats.
Watch Angel Beat. Just watch anime. We're in a fantastic time right now, Zach, where anime is easy to watch. Violet Evergarden. You like this segue?
Weird.
That was a great segue. Violet Evergarden is a Netflix original.
Right.
It's like everybody has Netflix. I don't. But everybody does. Everybody else does.
Except for you.
I'm just a weird case. Everybody has Netflix. Everybody can watch Violet Evergarden. I'm not going to do it again, but we looked at it before. The library for Netflix for anime is insane now. Before it was just Violet Evergarden, and it was a Netflix original. You know what that means, Zach? Netflix had to look. Netflix and Kyoto Annie, the animation studio who did Violet Evergarden, had to be like, okay, let's not put. Okay, we're Kyoto Annie or whatever. Well, I guess the studio doesn't really. Whoever is overseeing the project, right? Some higher up dude in a business suit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can put this on Japanese television. You know, I'm handing out licenses right now, Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese television, whatever that may be. I don't know what that is. Streaming services like Crunchyroll and Funimation and such. They're together now, but that's besides the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
High Dive and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put this on Netflix instead. Sir, Netflix? Are you sure? But there's no anime on there. Trust me.
Trust
me. You know how hard of a decision that is to do, Zach? A overseeing this project that's going to be crazy. It's going to be huge. Edited by animated by Studio Animation. What the fuck did I just say? Edited by Kyoto Animation Studios.
Right.
And we're going to have the production value that we just saw, and we're going to put it on Netflix.
I think,
you know how scary that of a decision that would have to be if you were that guy?
I think that was the best big dick move that you could possibly have.
I agree.
And especially with Violet Evergarden, because it's such a beautiful show, because it has such a beautiful story, because it's animated so beautifully, like, you know, everything about this show is just absolutely amazing and beautiful, and like it's in my top 3 at this point. And so I will do nothing but recommend this show to anybody who will listen to me. But the fact that Netflix decided to take a leap of faith with this show.
Yeah, so it could have been that business guy in Japan, or it could have been Netflix. I'm sure Netflix had, if it was on Netflix to decide to put a Japanese cartoon in my English streaming service,
right,
and be the only one, or the only major one, the only one that is going to stand out as far as that goes. And if it's on Netflix, they probably had to spend big money to convince that Japanese guy that this is a good idea.
Right. It's such a wonderful thing.
Yes.
That everything just kind of came together. And then, you know, like you were saying before, and we've talked about this a couple of different times, the only thing that was left on Netflix that was anime when it came out, 2018, you know, we're not talking like 10 years ago. We're talking 2018.
Literally 4 years ago, Zach.
Yeah. 4 years ago, the only anime was a Netflix original, right? Which that in and of itself is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Violet Evergarden. And now you look at Netflix, and we've talked about this before. There's just like a lot of the anime that we've talked about erased. Violet Evergarden,
No Game No Life,
No Game No Life.
I don't know if Bunny Goes to My... Well, it might be actually. The flowchart is there, Zach, on Netflix.
Your Lie in April.
Your Lie in April is there.
Yeah.
Angel Beats is there, I think. No, it might not be.
Did I watch it on Netflix?
I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is there's so many now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move on from this, but That's what I want you guys to understand as we continue talking about Violet Evergarden. A show like this. Not a Naruto, not a Dragon Ball Z, not a Hunter x Hunter, not a Demon Slayer, not a Jujutsu Kaisen.
Right.
Violet Evergarden was the first. It may not have been the one to make it popular, but it was the one that started it. And I want you to think about that as we continue. So Zach, what is your what is your I want to say top 3 because we're running out of time. What's your top 2 scenes? Your top 2 stories, your top 2 clients.
Top 2
in Violet
clients.
Evergarden.
Of course I have to say the little girl.
It's a little girl. Yep.
And her mom.
Yep.
And you know, honestly, I am totally content with like not going like too far into spoiler territory because I would love for people to take what we talk about in this episode and just go and watch the show.
You know, I agree. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Because like, you know, we can sit here and go into a deep dive Bunny Girl Senpai style and then basically go over all the key points and then it's like, oh, well, I watched the episode of the Uned podcast and they basically spoiled everything for
You know
me.
what? Let's do that and then let's have a little brief section where we do talk about it. Because I do want to talk about it really badly.
Okay. So, number 1 is the little girl and her mom.
Of course.
You know, that story was just absolutely amazing.
And while we're at it, let's just do top 3 because I think we're going to be very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one, and then we have I really loved the observatory.
Ooh, interesting.
That one was really good. I really, really liked that one.
Okay.
And then, oh gosh, let's see. I think it's gonna have to be the princess.
A man of class. Good man. Good man. Oh man. Okay.
Okay. All right. What's your top 3?
So my top 1. I really want to say the princess one, but I'm not going to. That's going to be. It's actually going to be the father and his daughter.
Oh, that one was so good.
That's my top 1.
Well, okay.
The reason why it's not the mother and the daughter is because that's a low hanging fruit. No, I'm joking. No, they're close contenders. And I would say personally, I think the mother and the daughter is more sad and it had a much bigger impact, especially considering where Violet Evergarden reached at that point of the show.
Yeah.
I want to call it my top 1, but the reason why this one is my top 1, the father and the daughter, is because as I explained, I love parent and child as dynamic, my favorite of all time. Or my favorite type of relationship for a story. And that was the point in time where I think, because that's where I stopped ages ago in 2018. That was the episode I stopped watching. And you might think, how in the well, I was busy with school. I had to, you know. But that was the episode where I watched it. And when I tell you I had cried in a way I had almost never cried before, other than like Clannad and all this shit. Well, I tell you, Zach, when that sequence, Zach, when she's in the water. Oh my God, Zach.
Yeah.
I lost it. And I remember that. I don't remember exactly how I lost it because that would be weird. But I remember the feeling. I remember me absolutely just breaking all my walls down and just sympathizing and imagining and just like, oh my God.
Right.
I watched it a second time and I wasn't able to finish it. And I watched it a third time and I felt it again. Roughly, you know, I already knew at this point. At this point, it was kind of this weirdness. I still cried though, but I have to put that in my number 1 because of that reason. This is a personal reason. Now it's the father or the mother and daughter is number 2, Zach, because I felt that again. I was able to feel that emotion again.
Right.
For that episode, that emotion that I had lost, the emotion that was buried somewhere in young Anuki. I got it again. And I lost it again. Number 3, of course, the princess. It has to be the princess, Zach.
Yeah. And I mean, okay, so I guess the reason why the observatory
Yeah,
one,
please do. I'm fascinated by that. That's a very I respect that. I do.
And I mean, you could, any of the clients that Violet Evergarden had, they could be your favorite because all of them are so unique and all of them are so...
They add different layers to Violet's character.
Right, exactly. And so I think the observatory was really interesting because Violet had an amazing opportunity to just go and absorb information.
Yes.
And, she was able to learn so much and able to interact with characters she had never interacted with before and leave a special kind of impression on the people who were at the observatory. And the guy who she was what was he? He was like what would you call that? I guess like a preserver of some sort, right? Well, I guess that was their duty was to preserve ancient texts. Yeah,
because they're in like books that are essentially just tattered. Like if you so much as turn the page, they would tear. They would rip.
Yeah.
So the point was to redo that text, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, quite the undertaking. It's like a fucking library,
Yeah.
So that was the point of that. I don't know what you'd call them.
I mean,
archaeologists.
I think that they were like student astronomers or something like that. Or
I don't know if astronomers. Scribes, maybe, perhaps. I feel like maybe astronomer is not the right. I think at that point in time, there probably weren't people going to space.
Oh, I meant astrologist.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. But yeah, the people who. So basically, what Violet would do is she would type everything out, and then the guy would sit there and read through the different books and texts and everything like that. And so it was just super fascinating to not only hear what was in the books, because we got an opportunity to listen to some of it.
Yes.
And then they were able to go and observe something that was really, really fascinating. And just the conversations that Violet and this guy had.
What was the name again? It was like Leon or something, right?
Oh,
that was a fucking guess. I don't. I just said a name. I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but
it was Leon. Yo, I'm a god.
Hey,
oh my god, I'm too good. It was Leon. You know why I knew that? See, that wasn't a guess, Zach. You know what that was? That was me subconsciously knowing that it was Leon.
You're a god.
I am the one true god. Anyways, I like that. No, I respect that. The only reason why I can't call it my top 3. See, it's hard because I say top 3. That doesn't mean I don't like it.
I mean, out of the list of all of the stories, like
I have you could say okay, a list of stories. Okay, your top 12 because the 12 episodes.
Right.
The number 12 is it's not like I don't like that.
It's just the beginning of the list.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's the beginning of my list of bangers.
Yeah, and when we talk about our like top 3, like we just said, they are all bangers, and they're all bangers for different reasons. And I think that that's a very important distinction to make, because just because, say, the observatory.
It's a very hard word.
Is like, number 9 on the list. That's just because the competition is so fucking tight that it's little things.
The ranking is like this tight. They're winning by margins.
Yeah, it's like
is that the right word?
Yeah.
Is margin small or big? No, you would win by a margin, so it'd be big, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they win by like. By pube hairs, Zach.
By butt hairs.
By butt hair. Is that finer? It would be finer. By a butt hair, Zach.
Right.
They're that tight. That close.
And everyone's list is going to be a little bit different. Sure. Because, like you said, the man and his daughter, that one had a different type of impact on you. And, it's because of your story with this show. That makes that distinction important. And for me, it's almost like since I binged it, I almost didn't have an opportunity to emotionally reflect until the show was over. And so, I just, after I was done watching the show, then I lost it. It was like I finished the show, the credits were rolling, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
yeah.
Wow. And honestly, like, this is one of those shows that I'm definitely going to rewatch, but I need to wait a little bit, I think, just because...
Sure. I don't even know if I can rewatch it, because I've technically done it 3 times now, but not really, but kind of. So I'm in a weird boat.
Yeah, and I mean, you could always rewatch it. Like, there are certain shows that
I've rewatched shows like 5-6 times. Yeah, I could definitely rewatch it if I wanted to.
There are certain shows that I'm like, I emotionally could not imagine trying to rewatch this, like Angel Beats, Your Lie, April, that kind of stuff. But this is one of those shows where it's heavy, but it's bittersweet in the best way possible, because like, you get to see an amazing journey of an amazing person who does amazing things and who is trying to...
Well, as you explained, there's so much development that happened to the end that now you're intrigued of how it was once in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're going to watch and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We came so far. I'm so proud of her. No, yeah. But okay. I wanted to talk about the princess, but I want to talk about spoilers if I want to talk about princess. So we're going to enter spoiler territory now. We'll go watch Violet Evergarden. Please.
Go watch Violet Evergarden.
Please. You will love it.
Yes.
Now the princess, Zach. Zach, I'm an old man. I'm 85. I got older again. And when I was watching this, Zach, I was 62.
I thought you were going to say 69 and I was going to laugh.
Nice.
Nice.
That was a great sound he made, by the way. I don't know how he made it. That's kind of a...
It's like a tongue
It's
thing.
not a... It's more of a pop. But not quite like one of these pops, but it's like a... Anyways. As an old man... I... Look at the youth. I view the youth, right, and I observe them. And I like to just not necessarily insert myself, but I sympathize with them because I was once there.
Right.
Right?
And also, this is something that we've talked about before. Like,
have we?
That moment when you look at someone who's younger than you, who's at a stage in your life where you've been,
yes,
and you see them doing some dumb shit, and you just want to right. You want to make sure that they make the mistakes or they don't make the mistakes that you made.
Right. So that idea is why I enjoy the princess, and and I guess that's why I enjoy the father and the parent and child dynamic, because I get it.
Yeah.
Not because I raised a child, but because
as far as we know.
But because I understand, as someone who may not necessarily raise a child, but has babysitted a ton of times, have babysitted other people's children, and has seen at a first account how they raised that children and what that did to this children, what that did to that child, and how that child now acts,
right,
because of the way they were raised. Not bad, not good, but just that reflectiveness, basically. That's all I'm saying. The correlation is crazy. And that's what makes every child different.
Right.
And that's why I enjoy that, because I find it fascinating. I took a child development class, Zach, so I really like this stuff.
Yeah.
I dropped out of it, but
I find it really cool, especially with the princess story, that Violet was basically encouraging her to express herself and like,
because she was a bratty kid,
Yeah.
She was just class, as she would be in her age, right? And she didn't know she didn't know if she really loved it. So, okay, let's paint the picture real quick. The princess, and she's to be married to a prince, because it's around these times, right? and they're arranging a marriage, and they choose one of the princes, or she chooses one of the princes to marry, and they're sending letters to each other like it's fucking Twitter or something, and everybody's swooning over it, reading the letters, which is kind of funny. There's like this guy reading it, reading their letter out loud, and then everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cute!" and on the newspaper too. Yo, she,
yeah,
early day Twitter, early day Twitter romance. So, ouch. So. That's what that was, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't really know if she really loved him, because it was like, are these feelings real? We're just kind of talking in this weird poetic ways and stuff that are appeasing to the people. This is really sounding like a early day Twitter. Jeez Louise. Okay, I'm gonna scratch that now, but that's what it is.
And then,
yeah, they Violet speaks with the memory doll that the prince is using, and they do it so that they are basically speaking to heart.
Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte is the princess. Love her so much. God bless her soul. They ended up conversing, and they do it really naturally, and it was just this beautiful moment where they you know, again, spoilers. Give me a sec. All right. They do end up confessing to themselves, like, you know, like truly, right?
Mm-hmm.
In person, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not just through text, you know, or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
There was this moment, and this whole time, you know, she was struggling to express whether she loved this person or not, because, you know, she doesn't really get this emotion yet, you know? So, I mean, just like Violet, if you were to say, right? But she doesn't really understand what these emotions are herself, because she doesn't get it yet.
Right.
So she is in this state of unknown, in this state of, I don't know if this is the right thing. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, happiness ends up showing, and it's fantastic. Great ending. But, you know, the thing that was really tough, Zach, was her and her head maid. Because, again, for the same exact reason, Zach, that I bring up the parent and child dynamic, is because, see, the thing about this whole royalty thing, right? And this idea of royalty, I don't really, you know, that's a kind of an unknown type of thing here in the West, but it does exist. So, you know, like this royalty, and, you know, servants and such. Well, servants might not be the right word, you know, butlers and maids, right?
Yeah.
And there's this idea of that, and one of my again, another favorite trope of mine is servants and their loyalty to a household. And not necessarily that, but what that means is that their role to essentially look after the young master, right? The young princess, right?
Yeah.
You know? And
dude, oh my god. And I'm just gonna interject and kind of piggyback off of that, because it's such a beautiful and poetic thing, because in the beginning of that story, where we meet Charlotte for the first time, you know, she's just being super snarky and rude to the poor maid, and or like this
poor old maid who I would assume is the head maid of the house.
Right. And she's been there since Charlotte was born, basically, if not longer than that. And so, you know, you see them interact with each other, and it's just like, you know, it's not like a tough love type thing, but it's like, you know, she tells Charlotte how it is, like, hey, you know, you got to get dressed, and there are things that you have to do because you're a princess, and that's what you do. And so, you know, once we kind of progress through the story, and you kind of see just the love that's there between both of them, and, you know, the wedding day comes,
oh my gosh,
and, you know, like that whole scene where, you know, it was like an unspoken thing between the two of them, but, you know, they finally put words to the way that they felt about each other. And, you know, Charlotte was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do without you. Like, I don't know how I'm going to live in a different house with different people, you know, and it was just like this opening of the floodgates of emotions.
I know.
It was just like, sadness.
But it was a really it was such a harsh sadness, because I don't even know if I want to consider it bittersweet, because it was really nice too, but at the same time I was like, because you know, that maid was there when she was essentially there when she was born, if not much earlier.
Right.
So one could say that she had looked after her all this time, and she's, it's kind of like this idea of sending your child off,
Sending
the wedding
them to college.
Sending them to college, and oh my God, I could just imagine, right? Like this head maid seeing this girl in her wedding dress, and planting the flower on her in her hair, and that was like the deal sealer was like, it's time for you to go now,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, and then she does this little curtsy thing or whatever for like this respect thing, and then she holds her hand or whatever, and you can see like the strength of just not wanting to let go, and you're like, oh my God.
I am so impressed with the way that they were able to make you emotionally invested in the characters. Like even if you only see them for one episode, like you're able to just grow such a strong connection with them. And it's like, it's almost at the end of the episode, like it's bittersweet in its own way, because that you're not going to see them again. And it's just like, and like the impact that Violet has had on them, and the impact that all of these people have had on Violet herself. It's just such a wonderful thing. And it's insane how over the course of one episode you could be super sad to see them go, when it's just like 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Zach, is 23 minutes. That's it. How can I cry to a character I met? I met this person 20 minutes ago, Zach. Why am I crying?
Right. And that just shows how great they are at storytelling. And there's a reason why this show ended up being so critically acclaimed, because it was able to use different storytelling elements to make it so that you were just invested in all of these characters that basically, didn't really add a whole lot to much, like they were basically just side quests on Violet Evergarden's main quest. But they were able to leave you reflecting and thinking, and it was just a great experience. And like the more I think about it, the more I just kind of like get the glossy eyes,
I know. I was about to cry after just talking about Charlotte, bro. I won't. I'll leave the other stories because Charlotte's relatively early on, so I don't feel too bad about it. We'll leave the other stories up for you to watch.
Yes.
But just really quick, I do want to talk about the music in Violet Evergarden while we have some time, because it's probably one of the most crucial pieces in the whole thing, in what makes Violet Evergarden, the anime, so good. And it's one of those I've explained it before, like Your Lie in April, Kimi no Na wa, it's one of the soundtracks where you want to just go back and listen to the whole thing again.
Yeah,
because it's so pretty.
Just imagine if they made it so that you could watch the entire show with just the OST.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I think that would be really, really cool, because it adds so much to the story that it's almost impossible to explain, because music has such a powerful impact in so many different ways. Like it can really emphasize the emotions that are being felt by the characters, and it can make you feel that sense of like uncertainty, or like that feeling of like resolution, because if you're just sitting there wondering like, is everything gonna be okay, and then you hear like that really reassuring OST sound with like the chord resolution where you're I can breathe now.
Or the opposite.
Yeah.
Where you're like, is everything be okay? And then it enters a dissonant type of OST, and you're like, oh, Of which, not dissonant. I think the only way I could describe it is melancholic.
Yeah.
And I've listened to this OST very many times.
So have I.
Good. It evokes this type of... I've explained before, kind of the same way how the Japanese, the way they speak, makes you makes the way what you read, the English sub, creates that flow of how you would read that or how you would interpret the sentence you read.
Right.
By the way they spoke.
Yeah.
Same thing with music in the way it almost creates the structure and the flow of the entire show.
Yeah.
Of how it's timed. At what point should we reach this part of the song, and of what point should we resolve? Should we loop the song? Should we cut the song and bring it back?
Right.
Should we frame these scenes to fit the song and this, both all the songs are the sad songs, the happy songs, the triumphant songs, the adventurous songs, the melancholic songs, all these OSTs that make you feel really immersed into. And I mean, it's not just the songs too. Like they're whole, like they're orchestras,
Mm-hmm.
They're full band, multi-people arrangements of beauty, the woodwinds and the strings and
yeah.
It's so pretty. And it enters you into this world. It's what creates the portal of which you can truly enter the world of Violet Evergarden. Because what can really encompass world building than the music that would surround the world?
That is such a great way to look at it.
The background music that would accompany a world of such caliber. Of the world of its respective world. Like, what kind of background music would our world have? What kind of background? Like, you can't really. I mean, you kind of. I don't know. It would be like a Curb Your Enthusiasm probably all the time. But you know. But in all seriousness, what kind of OST? What kind of soundtrack? This backing soundtrack would you hear in this world in Violet Evergarden? That's what it would be, and that is truly what can separate between your world and their world. Not just how it looks like. Obviously, it's very vastly different. But it's not really, though, because we explained it's ever so slightly like, because it's this post-war industrial revolution type thing. It's kind of like what we've read in the history books, but not really, but kind of. Because there's the buildings and there's the carts and the cars and the trains and stuff. And it's so close to what we know, but not really, because there's no magic or anything. But everything is still, it's definitely fiction, but it's kind of not.
It's like just close enough to reality to where you can feel
like it could have existed.
Yeah,
right.
That almost like that at home feeling. Like this is a world that is so close to a world that we lived in the past that it's like, okay, this makes sense. And then the music that they make, it ends up reflecting that era of time, which was more like it just adds to it. And we could make an entire episode about talking about the music of Violet Evergarden.
we could
because it's one of those things that could add so much detail, and it could it ends up tying all the pieces together. It's like that. It's like that perfect puzzle piece that goes straight in the middle, and then you see the entire picture.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to word it.
The best way that I could use to kind of overarching encompass like just general analysis of Violet Evergarden as a show is it's a beautiful story with beautiful animation. The Seiyu do an amazing job at what they do, and the music just ends up tying everything together into this beautiful bundle of adventure and joy and triumph and sad boy hours.
Yeah, of course.
But it's a wonderful, very pleasant watch. And for anyone who's getting into anime and are wanting to go into more of like a storytelling heavy type show, like Violet Evergarden, I don't think I could recommend it enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people who are watching Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, like a bunch of the shonen type, and you know they want to take a break from the fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Check out Violet Evergarden.
I agree.
But do you have?
And you should check out the description. So
yeah.
you can yeah.
I was just about to ask if you had anything.
Yeah, no. You know, everything I want to say has already really been said. I feel like or rather, I've said it and you've said, Violet Evergarden is a beautiful show. And I don't mean it's a beautiful anime. It's a beautiful show.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful piece of media that needs to be watched more. And you know, it's won awards and it's beautiful and all that, but I still think it has not been watched enough. I think that crowd of, you know, the shonen type or even the shoujo type for that matter, fuck it, you know, they should watch this. They should watch Violet Evergarden, not necessarily I guess, see, it's technically considered shonen, I guess, but it's not like your Jujutsu Kaisen and stuff like that. But actually, I don't know. I think it's a gray area, but either way, because it is that gray area, I think everybody can watch it expecting nothing.
Right. And
expecting to cry, but you know, in general, as far as like what I'm going to take from this, I have no clue.
Right. I think that this show, Violet Evergarden, is a great palate cleanser for like if you're in between seasons of Demon Slayer or like
I don't know. I think it's a transition. I wouldn't call it a palate cleanser was like the chill slice of life that don't mean anything in my opinion.
Fair enough.
This is a different step if I had to say.
Yeah.
You're walking into the sad boy eggshell hours.
But yeah. No matter what you watch, it should be Violet Evergarden. But
and subbed.
And subbed. You should also sub to the... Oh, that was stupid.
Ooh, no, keep going. That's
gotta
good.
Sub to this channel.
You should.
Yes.
It's a good idea.
And, you know, we got some links down below. We got Coffee. We got Patreon. You know, we have Spotify. We've got my socials, Arthur's socials. You know, if you want to check out the stuff that we're doing outside of the show, you know, you can go click there. If you enjoy...
Watch the things.
Yeah, watch the stuff and things and stuff. If you like this video, smack that like button. There's another button there too if you want to push that one.
Yes.
Oh, that was painful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It was pretty bad. I apologize, but no one will hear it because it will get compressed.
If you have any recommendations for shows that you guys want us to talk about and want us to watch, you feel free to leave them down below. We might be able to get to them. Our schedules are pretty crazy, but
yeah,
I'm definitely happy for and open to recommendations.
Yes, and we're happy that you guys have stuck with us for so long. A lot of big changes, not just accompanying the new set, but you know, things we want to talk about. We always have things we find we want to talk about, so I'm super excited. We've been talking about anime for the past couple fucking episodes, so I'm sure we have a lot we want to say that isn't anime, so we have plenty of things to say, and then we'll watch more anime, and we'll just keep on going. So it never, Zach, I'm gonna say it, Zach, the train will never stop stopping at the uneducation station, Zach. There will always be time for a stop here.
Yes.
So come by.
Yes.
With this camera. So come by. And we'll be waiting for you in the station. That is Uned.
And we will see you in the next episode. Peace.